everybody. I'm Desiree London-Miller. A warm welcome to all of you at our first breakfast for the year. We unfortunately had to cancel our breakfast last year due to the lockdown regulations, and it's with much gladness in my heart that I can say this morning that I'm so happy to see all of you, and you're all well and safe, and we will continue to stay that way and hopefully see you at all the rest of the breakfast as we continue throughout the year. With that, I would like to start and introduce our speaker for this morning and also our sponsor, Monique Klute. She's the Managing Director of Liberty Life Namibia, a financial services provider. She has over 20 years experience in the retirement fund industry of Southern Africa. Monique is passionate about learning and self-development, and she views herself as a leader wanting to serve and inspire. Now she's going to talk to us about when professional and personal lives collide, ensuring financial resilience of Namibian women during the global pandemic and beyond. And with that, I'm giving it over to Monique. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Desiree, for the introduction. It's good to be in a venue full of women for the first time in a long time. So as Desiree has introduced me, my name is Monique Klute. I'm the Managing Director of Liberty Life in Namibia. And I decided this morning, I got up and I sort of went to my cupboard as we normally do, right? You open up and you say, okay, where do I start today? So today I decided I was leaving the MD at home and I was just going to come here as a woman. Normally you'd find me in a business suit when I go to work, but I decided today I just needed to be me. I needed to be free. And don't we all have those different roles that we fulfill as women, right? So I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, and then obviously I get this title that they give me at the office. But we all fulfill so many different roles. And it gives us the opportunity to really be impactful in people's lives in very different ways. But first and foremost, the one thing that I do remember is I'm woman first. And there has to be time that I make for myself as well. I cannot give everything away to everybody else. And I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as I go through the presentation. Some people may say to me, you're a little bit hard on the gents. We do love them, we marry them, we spend time with them. I don't dislike men, but I do just have a lot of things to say about women. David, if you can move one slide on for me, please. So the topic I chose today is when professional and personal lives collide. So isn't that what happened in lockdown? Okay, I want you to close your eyes for me. Okay, I know some of you are eating. I won't keep your eyes closed for too long. Okay, close your eyes for me and think back to when lockdown started. Where did you find yourself? Were you single, at home, working from home alone? Were you caring for elderly parents? Were you a mom at home with your children on your own? Were you a married woman with a husband and children? Were you with a partner without children in your home? How did lockdown look for you? What did you learn from the experience? The one thing that stands out for me is multitasking. Is that not true? Okay, please open your eyes. Whatever that experience was for you, I can rest assured you learned to be a master at multitasking. Who's moved their laptop into the kitchen while you're cooking dinner and in a meeting? Who has driven to work with the earphones in while you're in a meeting or preparing a breakfast for your kids? Okay? I don't know if any of you have ever done this, and I'm revealing something about myself. Who's been laying on a massage bed with earphones in while you're attending a meeting? Yes. Okay? A couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting with colleagues across the continent, and I said to them, guys, I've missed you. I haven't seen them in person since February of last year. So I said, guys, I've missed you. Please put your cameras on. I want to see you. And one of the ladies said to me, okay, but please excuse where I am. She had dropped her kids at school. The laptop was on the passenger seat. It looked like one of those movies. Have you ever seen those really bad movies where there's a scene of somebody driving? They're doing this. They're driving, but the car's moving straight, right? It's those American movies. That's exactly what she looked like. That's what we've learned to do in lockdown. So globally, women were more widely affected by COVID-19 than men were. We were working from home for the first time, but we were working as if life hadn't stopped, right? We just picked up our lives, we moved out of an office, and we moved home. And that was it. Nothing else had changed. For me, meetings ran as if it was that nothing had happened. The world wasn't in a pandemic. I was just sitting at home. On top of that, I had my husband at home. The kids were on holiday. I would sit in my study, I'd watch them through the window. They were running around outside having loads of fun, and I was working. I would greet them in the morning. In fact, I got up and I'd kiss them goodbye, and I'd walk to my study and close the door. And I'd say, goodbye, see you later, I'm going to work. And I'd close the door, but they were on holiday. I could hear, what is that Netflix series? Money Heist. Have any of you seen it? Yeah, I could hear Money Heist playing on the TV while I was in my meetings. I could hear Barbie, Barbie's Dream House. But I was at work. On average, women earn 16% less than men do, globally. Okay, there's a pay gap. So when salaries get cut, who's the first to suffer? As women. When childcare duties come about, we are not, I get it, ladies, we've evolved, right? But there's still traditional gender roles. And we still find that in our homes. So when childcare becomes a challenge because children can't go to school, where does it end up? It still ends up with us, right? And when it becomes a challenge because we've got work, oh heck, how do I deal with this? And the kids, and maybe I should scale down. Who's the first person to think about that? It's us. We think about whether we should be scaling down or leaving employment because we've got children to look after. We've got domestic duties. I know my colleague is here. She said to me, lockdown was tough. I had to work all day to look after the kids, and at night, I had to clean the house because my nanny couldn't come. Okay, I created a bubble. My nanny was home with me, okay, because I would have died. Housework is not high on my priority list. Women spend on average 3 times more hours than men do on domestic work and childcare. Fit that into your day with everything else you had to do. In dual career families, mental health is something that is quite widely affected. Senior level women registered the highest level of burnout. 40% of senior level women responded in a survey that they felt burnt out. 60% of senior level women responded that they were exhausted. And I'm sure that's still the case. Comparative numbers for gents in senior level positions was about 40% felt exhausted. About 30% said they felt burnt out. That's quite a big margin. The financial impact for women was felt first. I've mentioned the 16% pay gap, but on top of that, there are fewer women in the workforce than there are men. So in 2018, in Eastern and Southern Africa, about 95% of men were in the workforce, employed men, or employable men. 76% of women were in the workforce. About a 20% gap in just a gender differential. And it's pretty consistent. If you look from 1998, the trend hasn't changed. So I don't imagine that it's changed any further since in the last 3 years. I imagine it must have worsened. Women don't generally participate in financial markets as much as men do. If you think about women who've got a financial product, 62% of women have one financial product, whereas for men it's 75% on average. So we don't participate necessarily the way we, or the same as our male counterparts. And there's a 25% chance, higher chance, probability, of women living in poverty than men. These are alarming statistics, and this is not, it's not a Namibian phenomenon, right? This is a global trends that we're seeing. And then obviously we can't think about the pandemic without thinking about the scourge of our nation, gender-based violence. So gender-based violence increased globally during lockdown. Women and young girls were in lockdown with their abusers. There was no place to hide. And the centers that are supposed to provide them support were closed, or they had limited access. Globally, physical and sexual abuse calls were logged 25% higher than before. And I'm not talking about developing nations, I'm talking about France, America, Germany, Cyprus, Singapore. 25% up in terms of physical and sexual abuse of women and children. COVID-19 was a wake-up call. It placed a magnifying glass on the impact that it had on women, but not just that, it placed a magnifying glass on our financial knowledge. That's really what it did. Because salaries were cut for a lot of people. The tourism sector suffered massively. My sister operates in the hospitality space in South Africa. She'd been retrenched in November of 2019, but had decided not to enter the formal space because she was going to set up a training company in the hospitality area because that was her field of expertise. And then COVID hit. No hotel was training people because their people were at home. So for a year, being the breadwinner, the largest contributor to their family's income, 2020 was a rough year because suddenly that income was gone. And they had to make do with a lot less than what they had before. And that's the same for a lot of people in the hospitality space. We've just seen in our own country, Air Namibia closing down. South African Airways. Qatar's closed their offices locally as well. Those are people sitting without income. So it brings the magnifying glass back onto what are we doing about improving our financial knowledge. We have to realize that we have, sorry David, one more for me please. We have to realize that we have the authority over our finances. And we've got to believe it, right? I know we say it, but what have we been taught about money? As a child, I remember going to my dad and saying to him, Daddy, I'd like some money to do, we've got this on at school or whatever. And he'd look at me and say, you know what, if you go into the backyard, there's a tree. Go and have a look if money grows on that tree. Do you remember that? He'd been involved in an accident at work and had lost some of his, he's lost some of the joints on his hand, right? So me being a smart aleck young girl, I said to him, Dad, I've got this thing and whatever. He says, do you think money grows on my back? I said to him, no, on your fingers. Because I knew he was getting workman's compensation, right? But those are the things we were taught about money. We were taught there's never enough. We were taught that money, in Afrikaans they say it quite nicely, geld is groot mens goed. As young people, money matters don't get shared with us. We find those things out as we go along. So we end up doing the same things our parents did. Who's got a bank account based on the fact that one of your parents had a card that looked like that in their wallet? Who's using the same bank that their parents used? Yeah, because you saw a picture of a bank card, be it with a tree or a little funny sign on it or whatever. You saw that, and that's the same place you went to. Whether you've checked, whether they're giving you the best deal or not, didn't make a difference. The brand was important, right? Because you'd seen it before. So we've got to realize that the authority over our money is ours. Very often we also get taught, if there's too little, it's not good. If there's too much, it's not good. Right? We get taught that as well. We get taught to be ashamed of what we've worked for, because you don't flash it, right? People are going to say X, Y, Z if you flash it. What is financial confidence? We've got to develop financial confidence. Financial confidence, in my mind, is trusting our ability to manage our money. I have an aunt. She lost her husband in November of last year. She'd been married to him. Their anniversary would have been a couple of days ago. They would have been married for 58 years. She's 77 years old, and for the first time, she has a bank account. She has never had a bank account in her life. Her husband has always looked after her. She now doesn't know what to do with the pension she's receiving. She said to me a couple of weeks ago, she said, Monique, I went to the shop. I bought my groceries for the month and I have nothing left. I don't know where the money's gone. So she's now said to me, I'm going to go to my daughter and ask her to manage my account for me. She needs to look after my money because she doesn't know how. My mom, on the other hand, they're the same generation. My mom I grew up in a traditional home. Dad goes out to work, mom stays at home, and that's what he wanted. He said to her, look, my job, I'm your husband, I need to go out, go and earn the money. Your job is to stay at home and look after my children. So that's what they did for many, many years. However, what is different for them is that she has access to everything. She's got a card, it's in his account, it's in his name. She's got access, she's got a card, she can do what she needs to do. She can run the home. If something happens to him, I know she has the financial confidence to carry on. And that's important. We cannot give our authority away, as women. Knowledge is power. So I'm telling you lots of stories today because I believe those are the things that stick. So I was grade 8. What's that? Old standard 6. And we'd been involved in a motor car accident. My dad, in that accident, had broken his right arm. He's right-handed. So for months, had to have plates and all sorts of things. So it took a bit of time before he could do all of that. But it was month end. Bills needed to be paid. So he said to me, and I was grade 8, so we just started in accounts learning how to write out checks. Yeah, it's many years ago, I know. They were still checks. And they were still valid tender. So he said to me, okay, please come and help me. So I went to sit with him, and he pulled out a little black book, not a traditional little black book. All it had, no women's numbers, all it had was his bills that he paid on a monthly basis. So every month, what did he pay for electricity, water, telephone, whatever else needed to be paid in the home, groceries and so forth. So that was my first lesson around how to manage money. Because I saw he had history. He could go back in this black book and go and look at a year's worth of history and see what he had paid for whatever he was paying for today, what it cost him a year ago. And he detailed everything. So I understood, okay, that's how I need to keep record of money. I would then write out the check for him with the amount, and he would try and hold his arm and sign it in front of somebody who would accept this check. Okay? So that was my first venture into finance. And it gave me so many good lessons. And that's what we need to be doing, is sharing that type of knowledge with our children. There is so much. We've lived the school of hard knocks, ladies, right? I'm sure you agree with me. We've made our financial mess-ups. We've all done it. We've all gotten ourselves into trouble and back out again at some point. Those lessons we need to share. We cannot leave our children in the same place that we were. There are age-appropriate conversations that we can have with our kids from a very young age. Just a little money box. We've given you money boxes, by the way. Just that little conversation with your children. And it doesn't need to be money. It can be anything. I was saying to my husband the other day, he said to me, the kids have done, we had teachers' meetings at school this week, and he said to me, the kids have done well. Can we reward them with ice cream? I said, no, let's not reward them with ice cream. Let's not make reward food, please. That was my thing. Can we please tell them we're putting money in their bank accounts? Can we make that a reward for them? I've told a couple of my colleagues, my son at one point came to me and he said, Mom, I'd like a PlayStation, something. Can I please do chores and you'll pay me for that? And then, I'll put the money away and I'll buy my PlayStation. So I said to him, son, chores, part of life. I don't pay for chores. Washing dishes, you will do, you won't get paid for it. Cleaning up your bedroom, you'll do, you won't get paid for it. If you want to earn some money, read books, I'll pay you per book you read, which he did. Now I can't get enough books in my house. So I've had to change strategy, because reading is actually a pleasure now. So now I've changed strategy and said to him, I'll pay you per hour you run around outside. Because devices have become the kryptonite for kids, right? So, but age-appropriate conversations with our children are very, very important. Does anybody know who this young woman is? It's the fearless girl statue. She doesn't stand in front of the Wall Street Bull anymore. She now stands and faces the New York Stock Exchange. So she is there to depict gender diversity in the workplace and specifically in leadership. The plaque at the bottom says, know the power of women in leadership. She makes a difference. And the she is in capital letters because it refers to the fund. It was an investment fund that actually commissioned the statue. And the investment fund's ticker on the NASDAQ is SHE, she. Isn't that beautiful? Fearless girls standing in front of the Wall Street Bull or the New York Stock Exchange. Don't let investment jargon terminology, don't let it scare you. Be brave, be the fearless girl. I talk about saving, it's not only saving. It's also about just understanding your whole financial portfolio. And as women, we need to help each other. We need to help each other. Now I'm going to use an opportunity to talk about liberty a little bit. Not much, ladies. We value women within the organization. We have about 30 staff members. Out of the 30 staff members, have I got the count right? We have 9 men? Fewer, 8. We have 8 men in the office. Because we believe that women do add value. Women add something different to the equation. We've got to break stereotypes. We've got to use the place we find ourselves in life to influence. And we've got such power to influence, don't we? A friend of mine always used to say, when you look at a married couple, the man is the head of the home. Yes, he is. But the woman is the neck. She turns the head wherever he needs to go. Sorry, David, you can move one slide forward for me again from the green one, please. Thank you. Okay, I've hidden the wrong slide, unfortunately. Sorry about that. The customer base that we have within the organization is predominantly female. And you can actually see in the way they use certain products, you can see where they've been in life. You can see women who have gone through a marriage, who have now, they're starting that sort of age where they're starting to get divorced, and they're needing to buy homes on their own, and they need a cover for that. So you see the ages move. Women are starting to become the leaders in utilizing financial services. We're starting to see that, but we've got to become more powerful in that. We've got to keep ourselves healthy, mentally and physically. And I'm looking at my board chair because she was just saying that a couple of minutes ago. We've got to focus on our financial confidence. It's part of the reason I enjoy working for my employer. It's part of the reason I enjoy working for Liberty, because I believe in the purpose of the organization. Liberty's purpose is impacting people's lives and making financial freedom possible. That's why I'm there, because I buy into what the organization stands for. And that needs to be true for us. We don't just work because we need a job, right? We work because we've got to make a difference. You've got to buy into where you are and where you find yourself. And we have so much power over our families. We have so much influence over our networks and our friendship circles. As a woman, you've got a special relationship with your daughter and with your mother. That line is a very special relationship. There's so much that we can do. We've got to share our experiences. We have to start impacting positively so that our daughters can achieve more than what we have achieved in life. And that they can start changing the statistics I've mentioned to you, that they can start changing those statistics going forward. So today, what I want to leave with you ladies is the focus on your financial confidence. Go out, have a look at your portfolio. Understand who it is you're working with. Often when I share with people, I say to them, your life, your movie. Okay, and I heard it from somebody else. Your life, your movie. You're the lead actress in your own movie. Your husband, your partner, your children, your boss, your mother, your father, everybody else, they're supporting actors. My husband cannot be the lead actor in my movie. He has his own. This is mine. I predict what happens. I make the decisions around what happens in my life. Nobody else. So ladies, that's what I want to leave with you today. Take back your authority. Thank you very much.